Hi, thanks so much for coming through to this video today. Today we're going to paint in acrylics this magic wand. It's a level 1 painting today that comes from my book Learn to Draw Step by Step Fairies, and this is the book for October. There's a different one every month. You can get them through the links below at Amazon or my website, or you can sign up on Patreon where you also get bonus videos. So far we've done all of the drawings. There is a video available on YouTube for every single drawing in the book, so you get help following me along, as well as having the step-by-step drawings in the book, which you can see here. They are all step-by-step, and at the end of the book are just the images themselves, so you can just enjoy it in colour. We've also, just in the last week, we've done all of the watercolour versions. Some are available on YouTube and some are only available over on Patreon. Okay, so we're going to get started on the magic wand. Now, you'll need some acrylic paper or a canvas, whatever you want to use. I've taped it down so it will have a little border because we're going to do a background. Because it's mostly straight lines, I'm going to use mainly angled brushes, so I have just 3 different sizes of those ready. I'm going to be honest with you, I never plan these. I just know that I'm going to what medium I'm going to do, what drawing I'm going to do, and then I make it as I go along. And I have got a little brush for fine detail, so you will see the thought process. And I always just think it's really good for you as beginners, learners, just to see how my thought process works, rather than seeing a final polished video. So I've got this spray gun, which I really recommend if you are using acrylics. Mine is a really fine spray. You obviously need your water in any old jar, doesn't matter, and the paints you need today. So far I've mixed up. Initially, I mixed up yellow. So basically, this is yellow and red, and it's come up with kind of an orange, really. This is a paler orange here. And then we've got the yellow as it was. It's just, what yellow is it? It's literally just yellow. Okay. And so we're just using primary colours as much as possible, because starting out it can be really expensive, and there's so many different names of different coloured paints, and I just think it's really tricky when you're a beginner. So then I mixed up a deep purple with a mixture of ultramarine blue and red. And then I took a bit of that out, mixed in some white, took a bit of that out, mainly white. Okay, so we've got 3 different colours of purple. Now, the reason why I chose purple for the handle and the background is because on the colour wheel, which I'll do in another lesson at some point, they are kind of what we call complementary colours. Okay, so they complement each other. So that's why I chose purple, and I instinctively chose it, actually. And I think sometimes your eyes just know, and I wasn't even thinking about complementary colours. I thought, oh, purple will be nice. But I do like purple. I put purple in a lot of things. So what I would recommend for the background is using a bigger brush, because this is quite a big brush. It's not a straight edge brush, and I'm forgetting the name of it because I do get brain fog. So sorry about that, guys. I'll probably remember it in about 5 minutes time. Right, so really wet down your brush, and we're going to go into the purple, and we're going to go into the darker purple first, and we're just going to make these marks. We're just laying down marks, that's all we're doing. And we don't want it to be too dark, so I'm pushing the paint around, but I'm doing it in such a way where it's kind of patchy. You can see some of the marks. I kind of like that. Now we are going to go over the wand a little bit, but that's fine because this is acrylic work and not watercolour. We can do that and it won't really matter. So we're just getting the first layer down, so don't worry too much. I am going to try and go round because it is a light yellow colour, and it doesn't matter, we can go over it, but if we don't, it just helps. So as you can see, I can go over the edges, it's fine, but we still want to kind of see that drawing if we want to get it right. So again, I'm just pushing this purple round in the background. This is step 1. Now the books that I've been putting together, there will be one out every month just while I'm chatting away to you. The next month, so this month is all things to do with fairies and magic and fun things like that, just fantasy stuff. They do go from a level 1 up to a level 4. This wand one is a level 1. And yeah, they get trickier and trickier as you work your way through. So each book, it's best off just start at the beginner one, no matter where you're at, because they're still just fun. These activities are really good for like mindfulness activities. Now I'm going to come in and blotch in the other purple, the middle one, and I'm literally just flicking it round. Just going to give it a patchy background. So just push the paint round. Now after a while it starts to feel a bit sticky. Okay, so you're at the stage where you can't really put any more paint down until it dries. It's like a tacky feeling and you don't want that. So let's give it a dry. Okay, so while we let that finish off drying, I do like these art activities to be ones that you can do just to chill. They're not too long, then you know, they're not too serious. So I always like to have a mindfulness kind of affirmation. So let's interrupt the painting for 1 minute while it dries. And I have picked them from this set of cards. I've shuffled and picked today's, and it says, "My destiny is my choice. I choose my own destiny, which will be fully reached." Okay, so that's a message for anyone out there who's feeling a little bit overwhelmed or a little bit powerless in your life. This is your message to just go do it, whatever it is. You are in charge of your life, nobody else. Just go and do it. Right, so I'm coming in with a lighter purple on top now. Need to get a bit more water, because it's not moving around very well. So when it gets like that, add some water and that will help. So you can see whilst I'm doing this, I'm still just doing it patchily. I want all the different shades to shine through. And as you can see, we've got that mottled effect in the background. I promise you it will make sense. Every painting goes through an ugly stage. It's all good. It doesn't matter if some are lighter in some areas than others. There we go. Okay, so that's the other layer done. We're just going to dry that off. Now, as you can see, we're working on paper, so it does buckle a little bit. Be prepared for that, but don't worry. After, you know, once you've done the painting, it will flatten out again eventually. Especially if you were, you know, if it was a more of a serious painting, it would flatten out in the frame if you had it in a frame. Now, if it's in your sketchbook, it doesn't really matter, does it? So you'll probably be doing it in your sketchbook. Okay, so next I want to get a brush that is a round brush so that we can do some splatterings. I actually just want to get some yellow and do some splatterings in the background of the yellow, just to give it a little magic effect. It's not coming off enough. To get some more on there, make sure it's really watered down. You can always do a test one first, just to get any big blobs off. Right, there we go. Hopefully you can see that. Get a bit more. You don't want them too big, you want them small. So just do a test one before you do it on the sheet. Don't press too hard, otherwise you might end up with big blobs. So lots of little taps. Make sure you're getting it in all areas, and that's giving us a sparkly, magical effect. Okay, we're done. done with the splattering, you'll come to find that I really enjoy doing the splattering. Okay, so now we need to go in with our small angled brush. And what I want to do here is pick up some of my darker paint and come back in just to outline where the handle of this magic wand is. Okay, so I'm using the angled brush on its side like that, and we're coming back in just to put some form back in to our wand handle. Okay, now it is quite watered down, so I'm going to go in and we'll come back and maybe put another layer on in a minute before we do the stripes. So at the moment, obviously, because we've painted over the edges of our wand, it's looking a bit wonky. This is, like I said, the ugly stage. We're going to go on to the next size up brush, still an angled brush, but we're going to go in with this orangey colour. May have to do some more of it because thinned out quite a bit, because I have sprayed it to stop it from drying out, but I don't really want to, yeah, so we'll have to come in and do a couple of coats on that. We're just getting in our star again at the top of our wand. So that we can see the overall shape as we continue on. We're just bringing that back in. Go. Then it will start to make a bit more sense to the eye. There we go. Okay. Right. So now I'm going to mix a little bit more of the orange up, because I've used quite a lot of that up. It's not really orange, it's just like a dark yellow. So basically it's a lot of yellow and a little bit of red. Come back in with a slightly more opaque mix. Basically, the more water you add, the more transparent it gets, and the more difficult it is to then layer up. But we will get there. I'm coming in with my, so you see now why I said that we need to try and leave as much of it as possible, because it does then take some work to bring it back. Try and be a bit more precise about your points now. Bring that back into shape. I'm going to dry it. There we are. Okay, so that's nice and dry now. That means we can go in again with the same colour and just really try and bring that colour back. It's going to take a few layers because of the purple underneath. Yeah. Now, why I'm putting the darker colour down first is because we'll then bring it back to life with the lighter colours and bring it, that'll be where the highlights are at the end, and it'll really bring it to life. Oops, too much of my brush. So I'm trying to focus on getting that purple covered. Should have been a bit more careful with the background, really. Hey ho. Okay. Okay, so coming back in again over here, just trying to blend in now where we've gone over the purple. Just put as much down as we can. We are going to come over it anyway with a lighter colour, so we just need to make sure we've got our shapes in how we want them. I actually quite like that. It looks like a bit of shadow on it, doesn't it? Okay. Just mixing up a little bit more. Didn't have enough of the orange. I'm going to come in actually with much darker orange up here. Almost got what is, you can see almost red. I like that. I'm going to have some of that red vibe going on the edges, because, well, it's not red, but it is red with the yellow to make the orange. And I think we have some of that going on. When we come to do the highlights will look amazing. Okay. Been doing so many watercolors lately that I'm out of the habit of doing acrylic. You know, I'm riding a bike. Oh. Now, the middle. We do want it to be of a similar colour, but let's just be a little bit lighter. This is where we can now redirect the inside, make sure we've got it all in there right. I think I'm in a bit heavier. We don't want it quite so yellow on the outside edges. We want it to be quite orange. Just remember as well with acrylics, you can't really go wrong. You know, you can make mistakes and cover up, unlike watercolor where you make a wrong move and you're pretty much stuck with it. Huh? Now I know it's looking really reddy orangey at the moment, but bear with me. I will be bringing it to life again in a minute, making it much lighter. Okay, I'm coming back into the middle again. Just want to darken it up a little bit because the highlights are going to be more in the center. We'll come in with a very small brush to put the highlights in at the end. Okay, so now you can start to see it coming together. So we've got some of the darker colors around the edges. I think what I need is some more of that darker orange. And it needs to be here. Need to just be making these points at the end as clear as possible. I know the way the light's hitting that a bit, making it shine. You can't really see what's there, but it is quite dark there. Okay. There we are. Okay. Right. I'm going to come in with a really, really small angled brush now. Tiny, tiny one. And I'm going to get some more yellow. Now these are student grade paints, which is, if you had the professional grade paints, you would find they're not as watery. So when you're working, you'll have thicker consistency and you'd be able to just put the colour down and you wouldn't have any transparency. But because I need some more white as well, because they are student grade, they are a little bit more watery. But to start with, the reason why I'm using them is to show you that to start with, they are perfect. I do recommend you get a stay wet palette, which is where I put most of my main paints, and then I just mix on this palette, and then I can just clear that one off, but keep all the other main colours on my stay wet palette, like primary colours that we use to mix from. So this is just yellow with some white in it, and I'm just laying it down on top of those diamond shapes. Okay. And then that gives us the impression of the center having these little diamond sparkly shapes. And now you can see why I've used the angle brush. It really lends itself to these straight lines, these areas of straight lines. So yes, all paintings have an ugly stage where you're just laying down your layers and it's hard to see where you're going with it. But that's why I do recommend on all my videos that you watch them all the way through, and then when you've watched it all the way through, you know what the end product is going to be, and it's a bit easier for you to manage it as you're going along. A bit bulky, that. More white in there. We will come in with white towards the end, which will really, really give us those that feeling of light. Okay, a little bit of red. So now I've got really, really kind of pale orangey yellow, and for that I'm going to come in around the edges here so that it's darker around the outside edges than it is. I'm not being too perfectionist about it because we just want it to just be another colour there reflecting the light back, or we come in with white at the end. So now you can see it's starting to sparkle up a bit. Okay. The more different values you have, the reason why I mixed up so many different oranges and things is because the more that the range of values you have in your painting will give it more depth and more realism. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm going to keep my really small brush, and I'm going to come into, I'm going to get some red. Yeah, I'm going to get some red, and I'm just going to put it there. Just create those lines with just plain red, so that it gives the idea of depth, and it's like little diamonds on the wand, and they're light on the top going down to dark around the edges in the center. Again, you don't have to be really perfect about it, just as long as we've got sense of that darker edge. Go. And that's why we've put it there, because we've got it on the other outside edges as well. We're going to put some more in, really, really darks. because when we come to do the whites and the much lighter values in a minute, it will really bring it to life. Sorry, jingling away in the jar, my water jar. Yes, so we're going to go for almost white now with a tiny bit of yellow in. And we're going to come in and just go like that with the white. Dab it into the centre. You can see how that sparkles up the centre. But we need to do it as well, kind of here, around the edges. That's not white enough. Get some more, I want it brighter than that. Bit more. There we go, that's better. Make sure that when you're doing this that the paint is actually on the end, on the tip of the brush, so that you can put those white sparkles. I'm just doing little lines now, show that it is sparkling. I think this one needs a bit more of a point there. And here as well. And here as well. Okay. Happy with that. Now we need to come in and do the stripes. So let's keep with our nice small brush. Get as much water off as you can. We want to make sure we're mostly paint. And we're just going to come in and try and draw some lines in to give it some depth. Then what we need to do is get some of that dark purple and just come in on the edges as though it's coming round, and it's darker on the edges to create that 3D effect. Yeah, so you want to be doing that just gradually around those edges, because it will give the impression that it goes all the way around. Fill that bit in. I don't know why that's quite so wonky. Go. Then we'll come back in to do the stripes with that lighter colour. Maybe not quite as light as it was. Let's try that one. Now I'm using the point this time because I do want to make them a bit more rounded. Perfect. Now under there, I'm about to put some lighter colour in, but what we need, if anything, is darkness. Under here it should be dark. Under the shadow, isn't it? Right, so it's looking a bit more 3D on the handle as well now. So what we need to do is we need to get some yellow and create the sparkles coming off it. So we want some yellow and some white. Now again, this is why an angle brush is really good, because you want to have nice thin lines. Make sure the paint, I'm just going to move that before I put my elbow in it. There, you want to make sure it's on the end. Don't push your brush in so you've got paint all up your brush. You just need a little bit on the end so that it's going to give a nice clear line. I'm just going to put them wherever I feel like it. I'm not looking at the picture. This is just Oops, that was a bit of a wonky one. This is just putting them where we want to put them. Okay. So all of the pictures that I do in the book are original. Click before that dries in. Are original ideas of mine. So when you come to my channel or you go into my books, they are all, they're going to be different from things that you've already seen, hopefully. Okay, don't be afraid to go off and to go onto the tape, because we're getting rid of that in a minute. Now I'm going to put lots of yellow lines like that, but then I'm going to come in with the orange as well. Put some more of that down. Not enough on my brush. Make sure it's just on the end. You don't want it all the way up, filling your brush. You just want it right on the end. There we go. This is for the Harry Potter fans in you, but then I think the ones in Harry Potter are just like sticks, aren't they? Not actual. These are fairy ones, really. The stars on. It's kind of a traditional thing, isn't it, for ones to have stars on the end. Okay, and then because for now we've got our dark tone, the orange, our mid tone, we're going to go in with white to really lighten that up. Now with my tissue, so we're going to go just straight in with some white. Get some of that up. Ooh, caught on my wire, my camera wire. And we're just going to come in now with the white, and that will really bring some sparkle joy to our wand. Okay. So yeah, angle brushes are really amazing brushes for just doing straight lines or anything that's got a square or diamond shape or anything like that. Okay, so now we want to do some more splatters. Now the whole thing's done. I'd really like to come in and do some white splatters. So I'm going to mix up a watery white. A watery white, that's a mouthful. Right. Don't know if that's watery enough. And you don't want it splatting everywhere, but at the same time you do want some splatters. Not enough water. It's better to not have enough water on it and then to come back and do your splatters later without having big marks. There, we've got some nice ones coming now. And make sure you do it from angles so that you're not just getting straight lines. Turn your brush around. Otherwise you'll find you end up with them all in lines going in one direction. and that's the way our brain likes it, but our eyes don't really. Our eyes are right. Not too sure about that. Right, we're done. So should we do the peeling? I was supposed to have recorded that on my phone. It looks like it hasn't recorded. Never mind. Right. There we go. There we have it. And I always think, oh, that's such a shame. I was about to say, I always think it's nice when you pull off the tape and it leaves a nice straight edge. See if we can try and save it. We've rescued it a bit. There we go. Okay, so that's the final image done of our magic wand. So there's more acrylics to come this week. Coming week will be acrylic week. Probably with other things too. I try and do 3 a week on YouTube and 3 videos a week on Patreon that are bonus videos. If you wanted to pay the monthly fee, you'll get the book plus all the bonus videos if you're in the UK, or you'll get printable downloads and all of the bonus videos if you're elsewhere in the world. So there's lots there for everyone, because all of the levels are from level 1 up to level 4. They just get more detailed and a little bit trickier. So yeah, there's something there for everyone. If you haven't already and you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, like, comment, share, and do all those things to help my channel. Thanks so much for coming along, and I'll see you in the next one.